Hello and welcome to another Wicked gameplay episode, and this is the first of 2015, so welcome to everyone to today's episode. We're in Prepared today, and what we're going to be doing is continuing on with the Airbus airliner fleet. The last episode I did was in the Airbus A350 XWB in X-plane, and I wanted to jump into Prepared and show you the Aerosoft Airbus A319. It's a very nice aircraft, and it's very similar to fly. Being an Airbus, it follows a lot of the same principles that it's pretty standard sort of things that Airbus have. And I guess one of the great things about this is if you're just learning airliners, this comes with a co-pilot that does all the checklists and all that for you, so you can just concentrate on flying and learning the systems. And while you're flying along, you can actually read your checklist and read up on the documentation, so you can learn how to fly literally on the fly. So it's great fun. It makes it quite simple to get up and running, and it gives you an opportunity to just jump in and learn to fly and learn some basics without being overwhelmed by learning all the checklists and everything. Because realistically these airliners are flown by 2 people, not 1, so it reduces the workload quite a lot. What I want to do is we're going to be flying a route from, where are we here? Tampa. Let me just get back into our cockpit. Tampa, Florida, and we're going to be flying to Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood International. That's going to be our route. It's a set route. We're not going to be using any ATC. We're going to be leaving here at 1 left, I think I originally planned, and land in Fort Lauderdale and 28 right. It's going to be an ILS approach, and we're going to make it pretty simple to get this thing back on the ground. Don't know what the weather's going to be doing, but we are using Active Skynex weather. So no ATC. Let's just run this flight and see how we go. What we're going to be looking at, that's part of our flight crew, I guess. Here we've got some menu options which changes the views. I don't use Easy Dock. I don't know if I really like it in these particular aircraft or in Prepared and that. I've never really been a big fan. I just find it conflicts with too many of the views, too many aircraft, so I just prefer to go with the stock standard views. But you can see here these are all blank at the moment, so nothing's lit up. So what we need to do is get into the overhead panel and get some power up. So we'll just hit batteries 1 and 2, and we'll turn on the external power. Now what that's going to do is that's going to give us some power settings here, so you can't really see anything other than some lights being on. So first thing we want to do is just turn on our brightness on our displays here, like so, and we also want to turn on our eCam display, so we can just turn on these dials here. Really cool. And you can see here that the navigation system is not working right now because we haven't set it up. What we're going to do is start programming this, but before we do, we want to jump over to the menu, the aircraft options menu. So you can see here you've got aircraft state, aircraft doors, ground services, options, load and fuel, and checklists. So I'm not going to do anything else other than the load fuel. What we want to do is this aircraft comes with a load fuel planner. Basically it's an external application that will set this up, so you can put in your destination. It will calculate all the fuel and everything for you, so you don't have to worry about that. And what we're going to do is initiate the load sheet, which is exported out of the application that comes with the aircraft. So when we do initiate load sheet, it should give me everything that came out of that. So it's 86 passengers, 2.51 ton of cargo, fuel is 6.1, gives us our tow and center of gravity, all that good stuff. So you can see on the right hand side here, boarding and fuel are ready to go because they are orange, but cargo is not. So what we need to do here is open the doors. So the front left door is open, which is why we can board, but to load the cargo you also need to have the front and aft cargo doors open, and that will then allow us to load all 3. So we're going to begin boarding, and as you can see here, you can see passengers are going to start boarding. So you can also do an instant, but we're going to do this so we're going to have plenty of time while we're loading this thing up. Loading cargo, loading fuel. Now there's nothing happening on the outside of the aircraft because I don't have I think it's GX or whatever everyone uses to make this look a bit more lively, and I'm alright with that for now. What we're going to do is start setting up our flight plan. So what I'm going to do is show you the flight plan, then you're going to come back and we're going to load that in here. Okay, so we're going to look at the flight plan that we wanted to take today. This is going to be today's trip. I've just looked this up on FlightAware. As you can see here, we're going to be flying Tampa International to Hollywood International way over here. We can see here on the right hand side we've got the filed altitude for this particular flight was 29,000 feet, and it also gives us the route that we want to take, and we can also look at that in a decoded format if you wanted to see specifics about those points. So we're going to look here. That's all good. You can see this is what we want to put into our MCDU or FMC, and that'll sort of dictate what we're going to be doing. So this gives you the route that we want to take. So then what I do is I jump over to SimBrief and I punch in the departure and arrival airports. It gives you an alternate. Then it will just fill in all this for you. Once you've filled in the airframe you want, it'll give you all the fuel and that, but I'm going to just estimate my own amount of fuel because it's not that long a flight. It's saying that we need to take off from 01 left, and we're going to arrive on 28 right, which is an ILS approach. I don't know if it has to be, but auto passengers, cargo, all that good stuff. So you can see here on the left, you can, if you have a Navigraph subscription, you can also look at seeing whether the AirRack cycle is going to be able to do this approach. So if we looked at this Gandhi 5 to Jingle 1, and we can see that's popped it over here. We can analyze this route here, and you can see here that the Sydney Star is not found, so you can just sort of click through to the next one and analyze until you find one. So it just happens to be that this fifth one here, which is, now put it up here, the Gandhi 6 to Jingle 4, we can analyze that, and the route is valid for AirRack cycle 1410, and you can see this is what it's going to look like and should give us a trouble-free flight. Obviously we're not going to be doing ATC. This is we're in full control of how we want to go. We're ignoring the winds and the appropriate approaches for taking into consideration wind conditions. We're just going to fly this particular route. Okay, so we're back now. We've had a look at the flight plan. We're going to start putting that into the system here, and you can see here this is the default. It tells us what the AirRack cycle is that we're on, currently 1501. That's what we should be using. It's got active and second nav. Not really sure how to change those, but anyway, we're going to be, we should say we want this one. There you go. That's what we want to use. I have actually verified this plan. So first things first, we want to go to the init and put in the flight plan here. You can also, pretty cool, also click on this little bar here and it will turn the keyboard on and off, so you can actually enter it by keyboard. So KTPA to K Kilo Foxtrot Lima Lima. That's our flight. We're not going to have an alternate today. Cost index of around 30. Flight number, what don't we call this? WGP. We'll just make up a number here. Actually, I don't know what episode we're on. I think we're on about maybe 073. I'm hoping. I think that's the episode number, the current one. We're going to be flying at a flight altitude of 290, and that pretty much does all that. I think the next one in line here should be performance. Let me just double check. Go to net. Performance. Okay, so we're going to have flaps 2 / up 0.3, and you get this from the fuel loading system, or the fuel loading application. You'll see that that's up there. What else was there? I think I've done this out of whack, but we are going to persevere. I'm looking for the block plan, which should be 6.1, and everything else should be automatically calculated, which is fine. So I'm going to jump over to the flight plan now. You can see here it's given us a initial flight plan. We're going to depart here off 01 left. We're going to take the Gandhi 6 and the Sabi transition, and we're going to insert that temporary flight plan. Not sure what this manual thing is. It never seems to do me any favors. I'm going to just remove this manual flight plan. See if it's going to let me remove that. Maybe I need to reset this ILS, but before we do that, we'll come back to the flight plan. Let's just get the checklist started, and we'll go from there. So this all looks like it's been loaded. Let's get the checklist. We're going to turn the checklist on, and we're also going to turn the co-pilot on. So he's going to start doing everything we need. So you can see here, start checklist, MCDU, use key 1. So I'm just going to kick that off.
Cockpit preparation checklist.
That'll let him reset. That'll allow us to reset this ILS.
Batteries.
Both on.
Electrical power.
External power is on.
Navigation lights.
So we'll see up here.
Set on.
He's actually
Engine
doing
master.
stuff.
Both off.
Engine mode selector.
Checked normal.
Landing
down
gear
here.
lever.
Checked.
Parking
Just checking all these things.
On.
Flaps.
Checked position.
Speed brake lever.
Checked retracted.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Transponder mode.
Checked standby.
Radio control panel.
Set on.
Ecam recall.
We want him just setting these
Checked.
Anti-skid.
the ideas,
On.
if that's the right name
Flight
for 'em.
director.
On.
Emergency lights.
Set.
No smoking signs.
Set on.
Anti-ice.
Off.
Probe window heat.
Auto.
Air conditioning.
You will see some funny sounds
Checked.
because I've turned some of the
Ventilation
volumes
panel.
down.
Is checked.
And
Electric panel.
does some strange
Checked.
things occasionally with the sound.
Set on.
Hydraulics.
Is checked.
Acubrake pressure.
I'm not sure what he's actually doing here, but you'll hear some odd sounds. What I am going to do
Set.
though
Ground proximity
is
warning
set this
system.
here to
On.
Electronic flight control system.
our
On.
original height,
Radius.
or just flight level we want to be at. Set all these to
Set to nav.
Emergency equipment.
Is checked.
Checklist complete.
Okay, so we're all loaded. Let's just close the doors now. So we'll go over here. This will give the ILS time to align. Aircraft doors. We'll shut the cargo. Shut the aft cargo. Shut the front left door. Jump outside here. And I think we can move the jetway back out of the way. It's one thing I really like about Prepared and FSX is the animated jetways and stuff that are standard. Now there is plugins in X-Plane that do that, although I don't use them. Sometimes I'm a bit not negative towards those things, but I just prefer to have the standard, almost the standard installation, so I don't have any conflicts with anything. So let's see what our checklist is doing before we get back to our checklist. Before start checklist, we don't really want to start that yet. We can have a look at our the APUs being fired up, and what we want to do is see how long we've got to go. ILS aligns in 4 minutes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this back when the ILS is back, and we can kick off from there.
Set on.
External power.
Disconnected and off.
Cabin signs.
Set on.
Thrust levers.
Idle.
Parking brake.
On.
Bearer reference.
Set. 1, 0, 2, 3.
1, 0, 2, 3. Check. Beacon lights.
Set on.
Checklist complete.
So basically we're ready for pushback, but before we do that we want to finish off our flight plan. Let's just see how we go here. Return that. Discontinuity. It won't let me. Okay, what has that done? We want to get rid of these discontinuities just by pressing clear and clicking this discontinuity line. So we just want to make sure we're all okay here. So we've got 101 left to take off. We're going to be going the Gandhi 6 standard instrument departure. That's going to give us all these waypoints up to the Sabi transition. After Sabi though, what we want to do is type in the next waypoint, which is, I think it's called Rixon. AN Rixon, Sabi, Rixon, and then from there we'll punch in our arrival, go to our arrival airport, and we want to come in on an arrival. We're going to be doing 28 right. So we want the 28 right ILS. We want the transition that works for this is the Jingle 4, and this is via FLL. I'm not really sure about that one, to be honest. So we're just going to leave this via no transitions. We're going to insert that, and we'll just check for it again. So Sabi, it's now going to take us Rixon, Fort T, the Jingle 4, Fort TL, etc. It's going to take us all the way, and we should be able to remove this. Just move this manual, clear this, and that should take us all the way in. So what we're going to do is now just check what this looks like. So we're just going to press the down arrow to basically move all the way back to the top. Got a front view up here. We're just waiting for the IRS, the IRS alignment here. So we're just waiting for that. We've got about a minute to go. We'll just wait for that, and then we can just check what this looks like in our flight plan. So we'll switch this to flight plan here. We'll make this 10. IRS can now be aligned. You can see here on the ECAM status. So let's have a little look here. We're going to align the IRS, go back here, and you can see now what this is going to look like. So we've flicked over to flight plan here, and what we're going to do, just move this so we can see it. Look at our flight plan, and basically scroll down through each of the waypoints. Gandhi, Mura, Sabi, Rixon, Fort TL, Swags, Jingle, and you can see here it's taking us to the left of the Fort Lauderdale Airport. It's going to take us just across out onto the water, back around, do a right hand turn, and back into 28 right ILS arrival. So hopefully all goes good, and then it also gives us our missed approach procedure here at the end. So it all looks good, so I'm pretty happy with that. So what we'll do now is get ready to just move this back to the start, and we'll start our pushback. We'll move this back to arc. I'm going to leave this on 10. We're all good. So let's just start the pushback procedure. Press 1. Configure the MCDU. So let's jump over here. What we want to do is let's have a little look at what it looks like outside. don't need a huge amount of space here, so let's go with I was getting a bit worried that this is just going to start rolling. I'll just make sure my park brake is on, and we'll go back, say let's try 25 meters. This is probably a bit of an annoying thing. So 25 meters, and we want the tail to go, I think it's the tail, I always get this wrong. Let's try it 90 degrees to the left. Let's try that and see, hopefully.
Flight deck to ground.
We'll make the right choice here.
Ground, we have ATC clearance for push and start. Please confirm ground equipment and services are clear.
Roger. The ground equipment and stairs are clear, all doors are closed. Steering pin is in position and we're ready when you are, Captain.
Start pushback.
Roger, sir. Please release your parking brakes.
So we'll do that now.
Parking brakes released.
Start and pushback. You can start both engines at your discretion, Captain.
Okay.
So we'll turn the engine start selector to, what does it say there, start. And we'll kick off engine 2 and look at the ECAM. Just want to see which way they're actually going to turn us. I hope I've done this the right way. I usually get it wrong. I think I might have it right this time. I'm hoping. Tail should go to the left. And yeah, probably could have went back a little bit further. You could say 25, and actually it's not looking too bad. Jump back in and see how we're going here.
Engine 2 is stabilized.
Alright, great. Let's start with engine 1.
Starting number 1.
So we're going to go back too far. Going to put us on the grass. So, yeah, not a great pushback. Maybe 20, 25, 20 feet would have been fine. So, anyway, we could have almost pushed back all the way to the taxiway. Not ideal, but lucky this is simulation. And I'm an armchair pilot. Okay, let's come back in here. We can get ready to initiate the next checklist. This really did push us back a long way. It's insane. I don't think I've seen it push us back this far before. A lot further than what I expected. Has it finished on that? Okay, we just want to be careful because we're rolling. It could have said that pushback was complete, so I'm going to put our
parking brakes are set.
Okay then, Captain. Tow bar disconnected. Your no steering pin is removed. All clear. Signal on the right. Have a good run, sir.
We probably missed that because I was on the outside of the aircraft. So we're just waiting now. See what's
After start checklist.
Okay.
Engine mode selector.
Set.
APU bleed.
Set off.
APU master.
Set off.
Ground spoilers.
As you can see, these guys pretty much do everything.
Set.
All you need to do is steer the plane.
Check 0.
And just do the the captain duties,
Set.
which is flying.
Flight controls.
Okay, so here we do the flight control check. So we just move our
Full left.
stick or yoke to the
Full
required
right.
positions.
Neutral. Full up. full down, neutral, rudder, full left, full right, neutral,
Check. Flaps.
flaps 2,
Anti-ice.
off,
Ecam status.
checked,
Ecam door page.
checked,
Hand signal.
received,
Checklist complete.
So it looks like the runway's to our right. I really don't know where this is going to be. We're going to initiate taxi. We'll see which way we're going to go. So what I'm going to do is just initiate the taxi. When I find it, I'll let you know. We might, whoops, it might help if I take my brakes off. Get this up to about 60 to 70 N1, and then get this back.
taxiing
in the taxiway.
checklist,
Just
No
reduce
slide.
that.
set on,
Brake check.
Press
pedal
the brakes.
press, checked 0,
Check. Auto brakes.
max,
Takeoff data.
I think I've done everything I need to do
Reviewed.
over here. I just had this feeling I've
FCU.
missed something.
checked,
Flight instruments.
checked,
Check. TO config.
set,
Checklist complete.
Just reduce that thrust. Looks like we're going to be doing a bit of night flying. Okay, so I found the takeoff runway. We're starting to lose some light, so we're going to be doing looks like a night landing, and that wasn't anything I anticipated, but we're doing an ILS, so that'll be fine. What we're going to be doing is, we said one left, but you can see here, looking at the runway markings, this is 36 right, which is the same almost as one left. So this is where we're going to be. We're going to initiate the before start checklist.
flight attendants,
While we
seats
line
for
up.
takeoff. Before takeoff checklist,
Brake temperature.
checked,
Brake fans.
off,
Engine mode selector.
checked normal,
TCAS.
TARA, tilt above,
Exterior lights.
set on,
Sliding tables.
stowed,
Stowed. Checklist complete.
Okay, so
Three,
you
six,
can see we've got RAS working there, which comes with this aircraft as well. Gives you indications of the runway and the length, all that stuff. I can't remember how long this runway is. We probably don't need to
on runway 3,
have
6,
maximum power on
1,
takeoff. I'm just going to have a quick look at that.
100 feet remaining.
She just said what that was, but I just missed it. So departure. So this particular runway, 3,300. No, we'll just use a flex takeoff, which is just like a slightly reduced power output, just to save wear and tear on the engines. So we'll start to spool the engines up here, and we'll go for a flex takeoff.
takeoff,
You can see there in my
flex, SRS
PFD,
and runway,
Check.
flex. I'm at the flex D tent.
Caution, short
Power
runway,
set.
short runway.
– 100 knots.
Not sure it's that short.
Beat 1. Rotate.
Okay, so we'll just start to rotate. We've got our flight director is on.
Positive climb.
gear up,
Start to move up.
Gear up.
navigation,
Check.
Start to turn right here. I'm going to move to a climb thrust.
climb thrust,
Just following the flight director as we climb out of here manually.
Gears up. Lights off.
You can see these guys are
Flaps
doing all
one.
the additional work here.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
Just reduce our climb. Bank around. So yeah, we're going in our turn. We're looking
Engine
okay.
mode selector.
Coming around a little bit
Check
too much.
normal.
I'm just going to reduce that.
Spoilers.
Disarmed.
Flaps.
Check retracted.
Landing gear.
Gear up. Lights
Try and
off.
keep it smooth.
Exterior lights.
One of the things I've been doing is trying to fly a little
Set
bit more
off.
manually to get a bit more comfortable with
Both
the
on.
aircraft.
Anti-ice.
Off.
TCAS.
Checked.
Altimeter.
1, 0, 2, 3.
Make nice,
1, 0,
slow and
3. Check.
steady inputs.
Checklist complete.
Okay, so we've done the after takeoff checklist. We're looking pretty good. We've got a altitude restriction here. I didn't set the transition altitude. I think that's something I missed. Maybe we can climb to that flight level. So maybe we'll just do that now. We'll turn the autopilot on. Let that take over. Jump down here. We'll turn some interior lights on. It's going to be down here. We can also turn on our weather radar. Basically, it's just turning on this system switch here to number 1. Jump outside and have a little look. We're just climbing to our cruise altitude now. Looking good. Nice view. Okay, so we're looking pretty good here. I'm pretty happy with how things are going. Jump down to our MCDU here. We'll look at our flight plan. This all looks good.
Passing 10,000 feet.
Lights off.
Just make sure I didn't miss anything there. I
Off.
sort of have this feeling I did. Change that any further. I think everything's going to be okay, but I just have this funny feeling I didn't set something. We can set this radio nav, but I don't believe we need to. So I think anyway we should be okay. You can see also here we're on standard climb. Standard climb here. You can see there's a dot next to our altitude. That means we're on a managed climb. We've still got our, we don't have a speed restriction anymore. We're just climbing now up to 29,000 feet. We'll just turn this out a little bit so we can see what's happening there. So what I'm going to do is get right out here. What we might do is come back when we reach climb altitude, or our cruise altitude, which is this little marker here, this little blue marker. So around the Sabi transition, and we'll then continue on to Fort Lauderdale, and we'll jump back in when we're getting close to landing again. So as you can see, it's quite an easy aircraft to fly. Initiating a left turn here to 15,000 feet. It's nice up here above the clouds. I also have this wing view. I might just show you that real quick. The wing views. Not much to look at at this altitude. You can get an idea. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we'll continue on. We'll get to our cruise altitude, and we'll come back from there and continue on to our descent and make our way into 28 ride.
Altitude.
See here they're going to now set
Arrow reference set and cross
barrow
check.
reference.
Check.
So these guys are going to do this all the way. They're pretty much going to handle everything. Okay, what I'm going to do is jump out here and we'll come back shortly.